Everybody, why not to mess with God? Well, Exodus 9:27 to 35 makes clear why we're not to do so. Listen, when we tell God we're going to do something, we better do it, not mess with him. Today I'm going to show you why we are not to mess around and lie to God and promise him things and not carry through. So let's get started. Everybody, welcome back to Reason for Truth. You know, host Stevie Garofalo here. And Reason for Truth, we start with the truth, then we back it up with all the reasons, and we're always constantly studying and learning for these episodes. We stop learning, we stop teaching. Same thing is true for you. We stop teaching, or at least stop teaching well. We don't want to do that. In Genesis 9, chapter 9, verses 27 to 35, we find Moses coming around towards the very end of his warnings and plagues on Egypt, remember, with Pharaoh. And after Moses calls down dust to create a storm of hail, lightning, in which killed most of the Egyptian servants and livestock, Pharaoh calls Moses and tells him this. Verse 27, when Pharaoh sent and called Moses and Aaron and said to them, "This time I have sinned. The Lord is in the right, and I and my people are in the wrong." Okay. Verse 28 says, "Plead with the Lord," he's telling Moses, "for there have been enough of God's thunder and hail. I will let you go, and you shall stay no longer." Verse 29, Moses said to him, "As soon as I have gone out of the city, I will stretch out my hand to the Lord, and thunder will cease, and there will be no more hail, and you may know that the earth is the Lord's, not the Pharaoh's," right? It's bad enough for Pharaoh to confess his sins, but worst of all, folks, he did a boo-boo, man. Hence, he didn't carry through with what he had said he was going to do. That was, he told Moses, but he really told God. Hence, he lied on the top level, man, rejecting God and his commands, and then even promised God something, didn't continue, carry through that. So what's really a bad place for many human beings, especially world leader? You don't want to do that. But let's see what happens. God's grace extended to Pharaoh. Let's take a look. And remember, Pharaoh kept saying, "All right, you take away the plague and I'm going to stop this." And he never did. He kept going on and on. Verse 33, so Moses went out of the city. Pharaoh stretched out his hand to the Lord, and the thunder and all the hail ceased, and the rain no longer poured upon the earth. God carried through with his promise as Moses did. Verse 34, Pharaoh seals his own fate. And right, with a heart even more hardened. Verse 34 says, when the Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunder had ceased, he sinned yet again and hardened his heart. Verse 35, so the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people of Israel go. Not good, just as the Lord had spoken through Moses. The moral of the story is that the worse, that we try to lie to God or not carry through with what we commit to do to him, listen, the worse it gets for us, and the worse the judgment's going to be now and eventually in the ultimate judgment seat. I would say this, we got to make sure, I think it's really, we get in a pickle and it's say, Lord, if you do this, then I'm going to do that. We're better off not making promises to God. We're better off just living them out without making the promise. But in the case you do, make sure you carry through, because it's not going to be good for you. That's the bottom line. In conclusion, when we tell God we're going to do something, we better do it, right? Remember what happened to Pharaoh? Lost his son, right? That's the ultimate. And then he finally let them go. And then he still chased them down, and God had to take all his military pretty much and chariots and open up the Red Sea, and then he gobbled them all up and lost everything. God didn't know when to stop. That's what baffles me, by the way, this modern government. You see all these NGOs and people that are completely fleecing the government, the citizens through the government of all this money. And I was talking about this the other day with somebody. Said instead of quitting while they're ahead and saying, boy, I got a lot, even though I didn't get it rightly, instead of just kind of going quietly into the night, many of them are fighting back. Why? They're addicted to this dirty money, to this stolen money, not keeping their word as they had committed to when they took the oath of their job. So today I showed you through God's word why we are not to mess around and lie to God. And this, was not the rest of the story. As we know, as I said, Pharaoh lost his son. We don't want something like that judgment coming upon us. I'm not saying you're going to lose your child. I'm just saying we don't want God's judgment to come upon us. So let's think about this very seriously and in truth, and reflect on how we can be better and honoring God, keeping his word and not making promises. But if we do, making sure we carry through. So in the end, let's make sure we don't mess with God. Listen, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you really want a little bit to know about God, knowing God rightly, I have a great course called Knowing God Rightly. Oh, okay. Go to equippedacademy.com. You can find that link as well on reasonfortruth.bible, reasonfortruth.org. Make sure you do the, hey, want to ask you, besides that, please subscribe to their channel. We don't monetize it on audio or video, but this would help us really spread the word worldwide in our teaching. And that's, listen, we're not benefiting financially 1 cent from that. So we just ask you to please do that. And then share this with others and subscribe and like it and all those good things. So thank you for tuning in. Appreciate that in advance. I really do. I'm your host, Stevie Garofalo. We'll see you next episode. This is your Reason for Truth for today.